I'm Beth the Builder, and I'm gonna do some wood burning today. So previous videos, you know that I have been bending my own tips, which is super economical and also like very, very easy. If you wanna check those videos out, you can find them in a very specific wood burning playlist I have. So I'll show you the tips that I've bent because some of them are really useful. Some of them are the first ones I bent, so they're like a little bit funny, but they still totally work. And the more of them you bend, the better at it you will get. I have 5, 6, whatever, boards that I kind of have prepped for this. I have 3 already sketched out. Obviously, this all goes way easier for me and way faster because I've just done it so many times. If you want to get really, really particular, you can get carbon paper and then you can print something on the paper and then transfer it. So that could be really good for like a really specific shape or like letters, of course. But basically all I use for that is I use a ruler and I make some even lines, and then I have decent enough handwriting. So I have a book of calligraphy and fonts, and that's where I kind of go for like looking at what font I want to use for stuff like this. So we're gonna do some fun ones that I'm gonna put up on my Etsy. So if you're gonna be wood burning, especially when it's cold outside and you can't open a window, run a little fan. It really keeps the smoke out of your face. You can wear a mask or goggles, whatever makes you feel comfortable. I have a Leonbebe tube pen wood burner. Goes up to something insane temperature-wise. I've never burned it that high. Usually I sit at about 40s to 60s, somewhere in here. But that's about where I'm burning. You don't want your tip to get red hot. Then it's too hot. That's like a good rule of thumb. Yeah, I'm gonna be practicing some shading because that's really a more advanced wood burning skill. I'm pretty good. I'm not a master. I can get some pretty cool things, but like this guy right here, really liked how he turned out. This, I mean, come on, so cool. Pretty pleased with it. So cool stuff like this where I incorporated a lot of different kinds of shading to get the look I wanted, but you can get like way more intricate and advanced than that. If you want to check out any of my wood burning stuff, I have a lot of stuff on my Etsy shop, which you can find up here. Click on this link. But otherwise, yeah, just keep liking and watching because that's very, very helpful, obviously. That's what I'm going to be doing today, just kind of plowing through, doing a few different things for my Etsy shop. I've sold a lot of my like Nancy Drew inspired creations on my Etsy shop, which I really like that other people like that shit. And I try to make each one to be basically original. Like I don't really... I've done it maybe once or twice where I've duplicated a thing, but I try and make each one like kind of unique. So it's not like, you know, you could find, it's not like buying something at Hobby Lobby that like you'll see that thing, that piece of artwork, that cow with a bow or the same horses running or whatever it is. Like you'll see the same artwork like all over the place because it's just being mass produced. That's kind of cool thing about Etsy is people are creating unique, you know, one-of-a-kind things sometimes. People have asked me like what kind of wood burner I have, and I already said it. Otherwise I have all of the stuff in the description below. But the one I would really like to get is a razor tip. I think they are really, really quality. Somebody told me about them and I went and looked and I was like, oh man, like yeah, that seems like such quality equipment for wood burning and stuff. But I have other things that I have to be spending my money on and preparing for. So, you know, well, I'm filming this now, but I didn't have a video last week because I am trying to film like 5+ things so that I can start getting really ahead. But again, that means that I can't then pump out a video every week because there's only so many hours in the day. Alrighty, shut up, Beth. Let's do this. All right, these are all the tips that I have bent. So some are pretty dang useful and some are a little funny, like this guy right here. Sorry, this guy right here. He's funny. I used it and it totally worked, and yeah. But I think to start, I'm gonna use something like this or like this to get some lines in words and stuff. And then obviously for shading, I would use my shading tips like these two guys. So, which I've both made myself. I did a video about it, about getting that flattened tip and everything. And they both work pretty dang well. So you just kind of have to experiment with what shapes you like and how to get them that shape. So I use needle nose pliers And then I use another set of pliers to really hold it. And then also, yeah, to experiment with bending around different objects, getting straight corners like this one here, by using the edges of your pliers. And yeah, even the ones that get a little funny, like these first ones I bent, you know what? They still end up being useful. And guess what? This wire is really forgiving. You can just unbend it and then rebend it. It's really, really forgiving that way. So this is a 18 gauge Nichrome wire. You know, those pliers, and then you just bend away. Okay, something to keep in mind when you're using wood with a lot of grain to it, like this piece that I'm doing right now, you can see, even from far away, you can see the different lines. And then the middle obviously looks much, much darker than the outside. So something to be aware of with wire tip burning is that if you get in a groove of in between one of those grain lines, your tip will just kind of want to follow it. So even if you're trying to get like a straight K or something, your tip just kind of wants to like fall into that groove because it's softer than in between those grain lines. And I'm using this curved tip, which you might think is maybe not the best for straight lines, but it is actually really, really great. You can get all the curves of like A's and C's and O's and stuff, and then you can also get really straight lines, and you don't have any hard ends to what you're doing. Like a really, really squared off, right angled type of tip, you'll get these really, really stark like ends of letters or what you're doing, and the curved tips I've found to be incredibly useful. I hope you appreciate my odd sense of humor. I freaking love Nancy Drew. Those games were like an integral part of my childhood. Definitely played them as an adult because I didn't play all of them as a kid. So, I mean, I gotta play them all. And then King of the Hill, I wasn't really allowed to watch it growing up as a kid, but I started watching it and I was like, this show is super funny. So Bobby Hill takes a women's self-defense course, and then they teach you when people are attacking you to shout and yell at them like, that's my purse, I don't know you! Like Bobby Hill does. So pretty funny. This one I'm gonna put like a hook on and then put it on my Etsy store, so it's like you could put your purse on this thing. I don't know, pretty funny. And then the Nancy Drew, the things she says in the games, she says, it's locked. She said, and she says, can't check that off yet when you have a checklist of you're supposed to be investigating. So this one, I'm gonna put like a little clip where you could clip like a checklist, like a notepad to it. I think that would be pretty cool. Don't I make shading look like super easy? It's because I've done it a bunch and things up before, so I kind of know how it goes. Shading tips are really where you want to have sandpaper around to scrape off that carbon, because you're burning a ton of wood. It's only going to shade well and evenly if you don't have a buildup of carbon on those tips. Just things that you learn along the way. The same with like all wood burning. You really gotta just like trust the process and be patient. You can't be cranking your wood burner up and then expecting to have a good burn. You're going to end up like depressing the wood. Is that a word? The wood's gonna be really bummed out. I don't know, like you're gonna end up having big giant grooves in your wood, which you're going to have to a degree anyway, but the hotter you burn and the harder you push, the more those grooves are going to like sink into your wood. So just like if you took like a red hot poker and jammed it into a piece of wood, it's going to eventually jam through it. So similar idea, you don't want it to be so indented that you have like a concave image or whatever, unless that's what you're going for, in which case, I mean, all power to you. But I've done things where I have burned too hot and pushed too hard, and it's not exactly the look I'm going for. And this is all really simple shading. Yeah, not super difficult. You're not gonna get like, especially when you first start out, you're not gonna get incredibly even shading for burning. It just takes time and practice. So be patient with yourself. That's at least my tips about starting off is make sure you have some sandpaper around, and then make sure that you're just letting your tip do its job. You might have to take breaks to scrape off some of that carbon that builds up on it, but really you have to burn at a reasonable heat and just let the tip do what it's doing. Pushing hard, getting impatient, etc. isn't going to make it be better. And take it from someone who is genuinely an impatient person. Lettering is super fast and easy. Like all the lettering on here, I mean, I can do in like, I don't know, 15 minutes or something. 20 minutes, it's so fast. And then shading in lettering, that's where it gets a little bit more complicated. So, or not complicated, it just gets slower. You have to slow down. So I used to outline a lot more of my stuff. This one I did outline and this one I didn't. So this one has a little bit more of a hard line around her silhouette. I need to fix her nose, it looks silly. But this one doesn't. I didn't do that. And I think it looks a little bit softer. But yeah, if you're gonna be bending your own tips, I highly recommend getting some needle nose pliers and bend away. It's, you know, this roll I've bent probably a good 15 plus tips and I haven't even made a dent in it. So, I mean, heck yeah. You can find everything that I use in the description below, what my wood burner is, the wood burner I would suggest you get if you have some money to blow. I would love, love, love to have a razor tip. That's really what's been recommended to me. They look like really quality machines. Yeah, super interested in that. So razor tip, if you want to get a hold of me, I mean, maybe we can like work something out. Which reminds me, if you want to send me an email and contact me, here it is. You can do that. I'd love to hear from people. This is all made possible because of you guys, because over, 1,800 people have subscribed and said, that bitch seems funny. That bitch is doing it herself. I like that. So, which I really appreciate. If you want to support me even more than just liking and watching and commenting, etc., you can check out my Patreon and become a patron to Beth the Builder stuff. And I have exclusive content on there. But otherwise, yeah, literally just watching is very, very helpful. So I hope you appreciate my wood burning things. If you want to see more of it, check out my Etsy shop. But otherwise, I will see you guys later.